now we can get started.
You guys please come sit up here. Alrighty, so hi everyone. Thank you for coming to our panel. So today our panel is titled Current Graduate Students and What and What to Expect. So this is your time, as Erin said, to ask questions. We're going to do the Q&A at the end, and I'm going to ask a series of questions at the beginning. So we have two guests here today representing various allied professions. We have MPH, social work, and comm disorders. Hopefully he shows up. So we'll be hearing a little bit about their journey and their graduate school experience up to this point. But before the panelists introduce themselves, I would like you guys to introduce yourselves. Just go around real quick. I think there she is. Hi. Just getting started. Go ahead. So this is Keyonna, and she's representing our communication disorders today. So, we're going to do a real quick student icebreaker. So I'd like maybe to start on this side. We're going to do your name, a health issue that interests you, and your career goal.
So my name is Stephanie. And the issue that interests me is how to work as a speech pathologist with a community that's bilingual, more on the adult population because I don't have as much experience with them. And what was the third question?
Your career goal.
Career goal. Kind of along with that, being able to become a certified bilingual as well.
Okay, so my name is Lori. My career goal is to become a counselor and my licensed therapist.
And a health issue that interests you.
I guess try to get rid of mainly like the stigma of mental health. And you'll get asked this plenty of times during grad school, so get used to that.
Hi, my name is Adriana Hernandez. My career goal is to become a bilingual speech language pathologist. And a health issue that interests me in my field is how to work with a patients, whether what types of therapy are most effective with them.
Hi everyone, my name is Mohammed. My goal is to finish my MPH. The disease of the topic that interests me is anything related to mental health.
My name is Marina. My goal for my career is to become a speech language pathologist. I'm working with adults, hopefully in a hospital setting. And my health concern is bettering the lives of adults who have had strokes or traumatic brain injuries and how to best help them.
My name is Patricia. My career goal is to be a licensed social worker, and my health
issue that interests you.
My health issue that interests me is postpartum depression and pregnancy.
Nancy Alonso, and my goal is to become a licensed nurse family therapist, and the health problem is that they find that bilingual, bicultural counselors.
My name is Jesse, and my career goal is to become an LCSW. My health concern that I'm interested in is the stigma of mental health and patient health.
My name is Anna Castillo. I want to be a licensed clinical social worker. I want to work on the family dynamics at home to help improve relationships with families and youth.
I'm Adriana Hernandez. I want to be a social worker, helping at-risk populations, specifically foster youth, and the issue is helping foster youth with trauma and how to get them into higher education.
My name is Brittany Bueno. I'll be pursuing a Master's in Health Administration, and I just plan to come back and continue working in the nonprofit sector and to continue empowering in the marginalized communities to better their health and overall status.
My name is Amy Santos, and I want to pursue a Master's of Public Health, and I would like to continue working with organizations and institutions that help alleviate health disparities among Latino communities.
My name is Dana Marmolejo, also the MSW program, but doing the LCSW, and health issue that interests me is like how to strengthen families through counseling.
Health issue that I'm interested in is learn more about the model of management and how it affects mental health communities. My career is to be a licensed.
I'm Michelle. I'm grateful to be in the LCSW as well. Health issue that
my name is Gabby, and my goal is to get my license as a clinical social worker. I would say public health issue for me would be reducing the stigma and kind of getting more of the Latin community to seek help, mental health.
My name is Josie. I'm going to pursue an PhD. Hopefully afterwards I'll get a certified health educator specialist. And an issue that I want to focus on is Asian American mental health and like seeking ways for intervention.
Hi, my name is Maria, and I want to be a mental health therapist. I think my issue is that I want to be able to kind of tailor our standard like therapeutic methods to a way that the Latinx community will better understand, so that they will pursue more mental health services.
Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing. So now we're going to get to hear a little bit of our panelists, which is a little different. I'll go ahead and start. What I want to hear is your name, graduate program, and school, what you studied in your undergrad, and any identities, whether it be ethnic or otherwise, that you're
I'll start. Hi everyone, my name is Essayli. I am in the Master of Social Work program. I'm starting my second year this fall. I'm currently an intern at UCI Health Medical Center. I am part of the Lebanese community, Arab American, first generation college graduate. My undergrad was here at Fullerton. I studied sociology. And
Hi everyone, my name is Adriana Hernandez. My graduate program is the Master of Public Health, and my track is Gerontological Health. That's it. I studied kinesiology at Cal State LA, and I identify as Mexican American.
I'm Keyonna Killingsworth. My graduate program is speech language pathology here at Cal State Fullerton. I studied here also. My bachelor's was in communicative disorders, and I identify as
And last but not least, myself. You guys know my name. My name is Emily. I am here in the NPH program with Adriana. Actually, she's my cohort member. I studied public health as my major at Oregon State University, and I did a minor in Spanish. I identify as an Ecuadorian American, and I'll also tell you a health issue that interests me a lot is rural health disparities reducing health disparities in rural communities. And in the future, I would like to work with global organizations such as the WHO, the World Health Organization, to oversee various public health programs. So now that we kind of know each other a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the panel questions. And we can go in any order that you guys would like to. So first question that I have for you guys is, what do you currently do or hope to do, and why?
All right. So right now I'm currently a fitness instructor for at the Allied Pacific Wellness Centers. I actually started there as an intern, and I really like the way they manage the center. Like the boss, she is amazing. Like she makes you feel super welcome. So after that, I knew that I really wanted to work there. And then I worked with my way as an assistant, and eventually I became a fitness instructor, and I love it because I get to work with older adults and just seeing them come into class, helping them live a healthy lifestyle, helping them keep their functional independence. It's a really great feeling. As to what I would like to do, I initially came to the public health program because I wanted to be a health educator. So in our wellness center, we also hold seminars and we educate them about like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, like how to live your life after the death of a loved one. So that's my main goal. I wanted to pursue that, but now being in the program, it's very broad. So there are many things you can do with an MPH. So right now I'm kind of leaning more towards like research studies. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I kind of want to study populations with chronic diseases or with physical disabilities.
Right now, I'm just like working part-time. Been in the program. Last week was my last ended the session for my clinicals. I was working with adults on our campus clinic, and I started child clinic in the fall. So I've been doing that the whole summer. I haven't had a break yet. I hope to work with adults in hospital settings, so like a medical speech language pathologist, but that's kind of hard to do. But that's where I'm kind of set, where I want to go. Just important to get internships working with that population, but that's what I need to do.
So I am not currently working. I am part of the Master of Social Work Association. I'm one of the executive board members. I'm in charge of apparel, so I've been really busy with that. I also studied abroad in Germany with our MSW program. It was like a cohort of 14 of us. I just recently came back from that and just preparing to start my second year internship. With the MSW program, you're in full-time. You take 5 classes, you intern 20 hours a week, so you don't really get free time. Some people work. I just chose not to because I really want to take every advantage if I can of every program that there is here and just to enjoy the 2-year program. And what do I hope to do? I'm really excited to start my second year internship, and I hope that if I work hard enough, I can get a job at UCI. That would be my goal.
And I know you talked a little bit about your current jobs, but if you guys could please describe your career path thus far, like various jobs that you've had, schooling, internship, maybe gap years that you've taken in.
Well, so after my undergrad program, I actually took about 3 years off to really decide what I wanted to do. I really like working with the older adult population, so I was debating whether I should do like gerokinesiology, but eventually I decided I kind of wanted to go into a different direction, like expand my opportunities, I guess. So that's why I decided to pursue public health. So what else was it?
Jobs.
Yeah, my jobs. So I actually haven't had too many jobs. My first job was actually working in a hospital. I worked as a dietary aide, and there I got to interact with a lot of the patients there. And I really liked how the older adults really responded, even just taking their food orders. It was just something like really special. Oh, thank you so much. Like, you're so nice. Okay, like, God bless, you know. So it's really nice. And I'm really close to my grandparents and was with my great-grandparents. So I really like working with that population. I feel really comfortable around them. So that's why, even though I'm doing public health, I kind of want to do the track for Gero.
That's what I like about at least the public masters in public health is that you can choose different concentrations. Like Adriana is doing gerontology, but we also have 2 people in our cohort that are doing environmental, and I'm doing health promotion, prevention. So
I can go next. So my career path was not a simple one at all. I was one of those people that was like, I have no idea what I want to do for the rest of my life because everything interests me. I think especially with like a sociology major, it's like, oh my gosh, that's interesting and that's interesting, and like I can't choose like a master's program right away. So I actually took 3 years off. I was in my undergrad, I worked retail, I worked at Nike for like 4 years, I was working part-time, going to school full-time. But for me, I was focusing on just working and like finishing in 4 versus like, let me network, let me do internships, let me like find something that interests me afterwards. And so I had a hard time after I graduated. I picked up a job working nothing related to my field. I was like selling insurance. And I did that for probably like a year and a half because it was good money. And I thought, I'm making good money. I got a 4-year degree. Like, you know, it's what you think. It's like the ultimate goal. And then I think after about a year and a half set in, I was like, you know what? I am not passionate about this. If this is how I feel at, I think at the time I was maybe like 22, 23 almost. I can't imagine what I'm going to feel like when I'm 50. And so I was like, I need to make a change. I need to make a change now. I actually quit my job. I started serving tables, hosting, just working on little side gigs. And I started volunteering. I volunteered at Chalk. I volunteered at a mental health center in Riverside. And then I just started building back my resume to join a master's program. And then I found social work. And then it was a lot of struggles, a lot of like personal and like family stuff helped guide me to social work. My dad was actually like sick in a hospital. And that's what kind of gained my attention to how social workers are in hospital settings and what it's like to be, you know, a family having a loved one in the hospital, not knowing if they're going to make it. And through that experience, sometimes hardships push us in the directions we need to go in. And so a lot of detours, but I'm here now and it's never too late to join a master's program. What matters to you?
So I transferred from Long Beach City. I was there for a while. I was there for 4 years because originally I wanted to be a nurse. So I was working on that, but then I decided I didn't want to be a nurse anymore. So I finally transferred. Then I realized that I needed to go to graduate school for my major. So I started volunteering at the speech clinic. I was also a nurse visitor. I did all these things to help my resume. I joined NISLA in the Outlet Health Academy. I just started working on my resume so I can try to get to grad school. I was also working part-time like I am now, still in grad school. So I was always full-time student, part-time working in the military. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. It's really hard to work and go to school.
And you're surviving, right? You're all surviving? Yeah, me too. I didn't think I would, but I'm surviving. All right, so the next question is, as an individual, how would you say that your background has influenced your career choice?
I'll start with this one. I'm from a Middle Eastern family. Both mom and dad were born and raised in Lebanon. Most women in my family, even like within our culture, they don't really pursue a master's program. Especially one in social work where like, you know, ideally they want you to be like a doctor, a lawyer, or, you know, something a little bit more, I don't know, known, I guess. Social work is kind of an unknown field. I think a lot of times, I don't know if you guys experienced it, but I did when I told everyone I'm going into an MSW program. What's that? Master of social work. What's that? What do social workers do? They like tear people's families apart. And it's like, no, actually, that's not what they do. And I get that a lot. Or the first question I get is like, how much money are you going to make? And why are you going to get in all this debt? You know, so I think there's a big misunderstanding of what social work is and what we do. It's very broad, so I can see the disconnect. But for my family, like Middle Eastern people who like English as their second language, they didn't understand social work at all. So I think I just got to the point in, you know, my career where I was like, I'm going to do whatever makes me happy, and I love helping people, and I like that social work is very broad, many different things. I mean, my internships have varied. I've been a mental health counselor, I've been in a hospital setting, I've been at a mental health clinic. So I think it was a challenge at first, especially with grad school, because, you know, it's like, why are you going to school? Why aren't you just working and getting a job? So I got a lot of that pushback, but overall, they've come to the grips of now I finished a year and they understand it and they love what I do and they love that I'm happy about it.
Well, for me, let's see. So my mom has diabetes, so she's always been like, I want to say pushy, but she's always all about eating healthy, right? So I pretty much grew up trying to eat healthy and my mom taking care of herself. And the way she pretty much helps our family a lot. She keeps our family together. And So I kind of wanted to do the same for other people. So just being able to help lead healthier lifestyles, even if it's, just exercise, even though, exercise and eating, they're both very important. But I think that's pretty much where I started. Also, I actually want to start with physical therapy. So that's been kind of where I wanted to start. And let's see.
What made you switch over from physical therapy?
Yeah, so from physical therapy, so it was when I started my internship. So doing a lot of, I didn't do a lot of internships, but that main internship that I did, just the way they managed things, I really liked how it was run. And one of the instructors there, I really liked the way she interacted with class, how she made people feel. She was very knowledgeable. So from there, it really persuaded me to want to become a fitness instructor. So from going from physical therapy into that. Just trying to live healthy lifestyles. That's kind of what persuaded me to help other people as well.
Family in your life. Yeah, I feel like it's the same. People who have influenced me, especially during community college. I had a lot of professors that really saw my potential, and they would want me to push to do more. Family support, a lot of things really pushed me to keep going with education. I also have family who are like, why are you still in school? It's been so long. It's like, when are you gonna get a job? So, this is what I want to do. They support me. They always let me be an individual and do what I want. So I feel like I'm lucky to have that freedom to because a lot of people, especially in my culture, they want to leave the house at 18, or their parents kick them out, and they want them to be grown already, but I'm still at home with my mom, and they're okay with it. So I feel like I'm lucky with that. But just having support from people and influence by professors that I've had in the past. So I feel like that really influenced my career.
And thank you. Both of you mentioned, maybe you too, Keyonna, that internships and extracurricular activities outside of school really helped you kind of hone in on what you really wanted to do. So could you share with us maybe a little bit about how you got those internships? Did you start by volunteering, or what was the process in that to get you to where you are now?
I can start on that one. Volunteering is not the easiest process. I think most of the ones that I had to apply for, it involved 6 months of just trying to get in or doing some type of blood test. I know at the hospital setting, I had to get 2 rounds of TB tests, all that stuff. You're I'm just volunteer. I thought, I was just gonna apply and it's gonna be that easy, and it's not. It's a process, and I think it shows really if you're dedicated to something, especially if you're willing to do it for free. I think it really shows, can I do this? Is this what I'm interested in? Or I'm just going to turn away and I'm just going to go find a part-time job, because that's a lot easier than trying to volunteer. And then I think for me, when I was kind of going through that transition period, when I quit my job, I actually did a 40-hour domestic violence certificate training. And through that experience, the lady that was hosting the domestic violence advocacy training, she was actually a PhD graduate, and she was talking to me, and she's like, I really think, through this experience, you should really pursue your master's. And I was like, I don't have the money, it's too late, I'm ready. And she's like, no, really think about it. I think you do great. I could tell, you're really empathetic and passionate. And then I thought about it, and I was like, if she went back to school after I don't know, she had been out for 5 years, I was like, why can't I? And I started thinking differently about it. I think sometimes we're under this perception that it needs to be a constant flow of I needed to know exactly what I need to do next step. And it was never like that for me. And then I just kind of redirected and changed my perspective and just thought, if something's worth having, it's worth working for. And honestly, every opportunity that I've gotten, that's just kind of been really months of waiting and just me constantly pursuing, me constantly emailing, following up. Do you need me to do this again? I haven't heard back. So it's not an easy process, at least it wasn't for me.
So persistence.
Yeah.
Right? I second that, persistence, because in my opinion, nobody's going to give you any opportunity. You have to go out there and seek those opportunities and make it happen for yourself, especially as when you're older.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I had to really look for volunteer opportunities. Look at different volunteer websites to try to find something that has to do with
special psychology and communicative disorders, it's kind of hard to find opportunities with that population. So it was kind of a struggle, but when I did find them, it was pretty easy to get into. And especially for the literacy tutor, it was in the library, so we just did like orientation, and after that, I just had my thing. I was working with them, so it was hard to find the ones that helped them. They were really good opportunities that I used in my life.
So you said it was difficult to find. How did you get yourself in the end?
I just like emailed, like contacted them
Over and over.
Yeah.
Well, luckily for me, well, at least during my undergrad, I didn't have a hard time finding internships. Luckily, it's all been like from friends, like, hey, like there's this opportunity here, would you like to take it? Or from professors, they email you like with opportunities. So luckily from that, actually was what I wanted to do, and I emailed the location, and I just went in, and luckily it worked out. For right now, we haven't started our internships yet, but yeah, one of my friends, I'm assisting for the research project for the fibromyalgia longitudinal study. So again, it's from friends. We actually had a presentation. So there I told the class, like, oh yeah, I'm a fitness instructor, I work with older adults. And then she's the one who came up to me, and was like, oh, like, so you do this and this, like, we also have this fibromyalgia study that's going on, would you be interested? And I was, so luckily for me, it was more of an easier process.
So more of like word of mouth,
yeah,
and getting yourself out there. Yeah. Great, thank you guys. So, there are many barriers, reaching for higher education, especially as first generation students, all of us. So, has there been a time where you doubted yourself in graduate school? And if so, how did you deal with that? I know you guys have.
Yeah. All the time. Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, nowadays it's kind of the norm to kind of pursue higher education. So, I mean, probably, well, obviously most of us don't feel comfortable just having a bachelor's degree, so that's why we're here, right? Yeah, and then that you'll have more opportunities pursuing a master's and eventually maybe some of you a PhD. What was the question?
Has there been a time you doubted yourself?
So I have one of my cousins. She's actually younger than me. She got her master's degree in gerontology 2 years ago, and one of my older cousins, she's doing her master's right now. I'm not too sure in marketing. So I know I have a lot of family that's there, so you always have that support. So you're like, okay, I can do this. Everyone goes through a hard time, but if you're willing to put in the effort, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I doubt myself a lot, and I'm like, I want to give up.
Great
job. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Can you think of like a specific time where you were just like, I can't do it anymore, I'm dropping out of graduate school? Because I'm telling you, I've been there.
It happens a lot. Like,
yeah.
Every week.
and how did you pick yourself? How did you pick yourself up? Like, how did you overcome that? Because we all go through it, and it's so much easier to just give up, right? Yeah. But we don't. We're still here. So
it's good. 2 years. It's just 2 years.
It's just 2 years.
Yeah. You're almost done. My mom, like you can do it. Like, shut up. Because like I've always been like, oh, I can't do this, and like it'll be like a hard class. I feel like I can't do this, and I'll get an A in it. She like, look, see,
yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it's just me, just but it is hard. But
so family, positive talk, positive affirmations.
I'll start positive and then I'll go negative. There's always a way. Like you always, every new semester, new assignment, I'm like, what? Like, how is that even humanly possible? Like, how can I do a 17-page paper in 2 weeks and I have internship and I have school and stuff? Like, you're gonna have those days where you're like, this isn't for me. Like, imposter syndrome. I'm not smart enough for this. I'm not, like, other people are way smarter than me. And then honestly, like my best advice is make friends with your cohort. Like my cohort and I are like so, like we are like family. Like we talk each other through things. We're at the library almost every weekend. I'm sorry, that's the truth. I live at the library, but we do assignments together and we just talk. Sometimes I think talking through something and then trying to like write your paper is a lot of writing. Just FYI, get ready to write. Kind of helps your thought process, but I think sometimes when you start an assignment and you don't like think about it or talk to other people and get like perceptions, and you're just like, oh, this is unattainable. But then when you talk to people, you get good ideas. But I have that all the time. I think our program, I mean, I can't talk about anyone else's, but for the MSW program, it's really rigorous. Like you are doing soul searching on top of helping people in like the most disadvantaged populations, on top of going to school full time. Not a lot of master's programs are 5 units constantly, like through the semesters. You're interning the whole year. You don't get, and you get your summer off, but they expect you to intern depending on your internship during your Thanksgiving break, your winter break, your spring break. It's a commitment, and you know you have times where life happens, and maybe something happens in your family, and you're just like, I can't do all of this at once. But I promise, if you just do a little self-care and you have a little bit of support, you will manage. Like we've all been, when I finished my first year, like it's possible. But I've had every single one of those doubts of like, this is never gonna get done. I can't do this assignment. I can't do this, and then somehow it gets done. And you're like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. And it's over.
Yeah.
And you're back. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I did that.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Just real quick, I know it's not a panel for me, but I just want to say something. So for me personally, just because this is what motivates me. When I think about like, you know, wanting to give up or just feel super hopeless, I think of my mom, who has a master's, but unlike me, she did her master's, and I know there's moms in the room. She did her master's as a single mom, working full time during the day, doing her classes at night. Raising me and supporting my grandma and my grandpa at the same time, and she got through it, and she became a school psychologist and successful and happy, and really was a person that taught me like what it takes and what it takes to keep going. So whenever I'm like, I can't do this assignment, I'm dropping out of school, I'm never going back to Cal State Fullerton, I just think of like people like that, and like, you know, a lot of you are so resilient, and you've already, you know, we've talked about this, we've read about this, like it's amazing what we can do. So
yeah, don't be afraid, because sometimes you text, you know, your peers or your cohort, like, how do you do this assignment? Like, I don't get it. Like, dude, I don't get it either. And so we're all like, well, how do you do this? And then we can eventually figure out, oh, that's right. So yeah, don't be worried if you're like a little confused. Like, well, I don't get this assignment.
It's most likely somebody else or everybody else still also
like,
understands.
Yeah.
But utilize office hours. I do that a lot. Like, go talk to your professor weeks before the paper's due and just say, this is what I'm thinking. Am I in the right direction? Before you write out a paper and then they give you back feedback that it's not correct. But utilize office hours, talk to your professors, make connections with them, because they are willing to help you if you're willing to put in the work.
Okay, thank you guys. So the next question, kind of shifting gears, what would you guys say it takes to succeed in your program? What advice would you give graduate students that are interested in going into computers, social work, and public health?
I think at least for my field, you have to have a lot of empathy. You have to really be willing to listen more than speak, and really take in opinions other than your own, and just hear people for their own individual stories. And maybe you don't agree with it, but your job is to listen, to understand, to seek, to, you know, look at the whole picture. So I think empathy is probably the biggest thing I would say for social work. And then just perseverance, passion, because in this field, you know, sometimes you're not getting paid, you're interning for free, you're going to school for free, like you're taking out loans. So there's those times where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can never catch a break. This is also expensive, and I'm just here trying to get a degree and trying to help people. And you'll have those days, but you just, the end goal, like it's worth it. So just, I think, remember
that. I guess for my field, I mean, just having that, you know, determination to kind of want to help other people. Just showing that you care. And, you know, for public health, you have to build a lot of connections. So being able to reach out to other organizations, you know, trying to take in that leader position, and yeah, just, you know, showing that you know what's up, and you know, just yeah, communicating with a lot of people, and I think that's
I would say really good critical thinking skills, be able to think on your own. Creativity, a lot of it. It's a lot.
What about learning how to find important information in research articles and statistics? Any others? I would say those are.
Knowing how to do a lit review.
Definitely, and they're actually learning.
Yeah,
learning
really
to do
take
that.
it serious, because when it comes as a real assignment, you're going to appreciate this experience.
And I would say the statistics, you know, we took that statistics class, I don't know if you guys, we recently took it, and I noticed, I was like, okay, statistics is over, I don't have to really deal with it too much anymore, and it came right back to me this last semester, and I was like, okay. So I wish I my notes, but yeah, definitely. Let's see, the next question. So what are some things that you wish you would have known prior to beginning your graduate program? So close your eyes and think back a year ago. If you could go back and tell yourself and give yourself tips and advice, what would you say?
Because I would say it's okay if you feel lost, right? Like you start school, like, do I really belong here? Like, am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Like, all of these people are better than me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So I think just, you know, telling yourself that everything's okay, you know, baby steps all along the way. And, you know, you'll find out that a lot of people are in the same boat. So we had a lot of professors come in, like, do these kinds of panels, right? And they're telling us, like, yeah, like, we all felt lost, like, don't worry about it. So I think that's very helpful, right? So if you're ever down on yourself, it's not just you, we've all gone through that.
I think for me, I wasn't expecting to do so much like writing papers about myself. So they really want you to like know who you are and talk about your struggles, because countertransference is very real when you're with a client and maybe they've gone through similar stories, you or your parents or something, and you get, you know, triggered. So you do a lot of work like within yourself, and I don't know if I was prepared or knew that that was coming. I'm really happy that I did that work, you know, my first year, because it really makes you stronger, whatever, in whatever field that you do, clinician, whatever. I think aside from that, I wish I knew more about, like, I even came here for undergrad and I didn't know about like the grants and stuff that I could apply for, the scholarships. I don't know if Louise still comes and talks to them, but all the stuff that I learned here, I was in your guys' shoes last year exactly, and I didn't know about all of those spots, like free money that people are like willing. You just have to write like maybe 1-page paper about yourself, and it's out there. You don't have to take out all these loans. Like there is support, and then even I learned it from here too at the PMP that there's free counseling sessions here at the health center. There's like acupuncture, chiropractic for $5. Like utilize it. It's amazing. You can never find it for $5. Like once you're not a student anymore. And there's the Graduate Student Success Center. I don't know if we've talked to you guys about that, but sometimes there's free food there. There's a lot of free things out there. I guess just like ask questions and like, you know, inform other people so they know. But there's a lot of stuff out there that I didn't know about.
One thing, I wish I would have known that it was like a lot of counseling for your client. Counseling is more of like a, there was a class for it in undergrad that you could take for counseling. It was optional, but you get into a program where the clients have to do a lot of counseling, and I'm not never really done any counseling. So that was something I wish I would have known, that it was going to be a lot of that. I wish I would have known. Well, I kind of had an idea, but just to know that at some point that you're going to be the actual
professionals, so you're really gonna have to know your stuff when someone asks you questions. You're gonna have to know how a therapy works. You're gonna have to know the theory behind it, so you can explain it and why you're doing it. You have to explain all those things to your client and their family. They're gonna ask you a bunch of questions. You're gonna have to answer every question. You're gonna have to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could go back and, tell yourself, hey, there's going to be a lot of counseling, what would you have done to prepare more?
I would have researched counseling and teaching on different ways you can counsel our clients.
Oh, cool. How to change that or?
Some things you wish you would have known prior to the graduate program.
Oh, this is another question.
That same question.
Some things I would have known.
Like if you could go back and tell yourself.
I guess, yeah, there's going to be a lot of reading. Since I didn't really have that public health background, it would have been definitely helpful to kind of read up on books and kind of gain more insight on that. Yeah, so I wouldn't come in so blindsided. Yeah.
Definitely. And now just another question, not school related. What are some things that you guys do outside of school and work to keep yourself sane and to deal with like the stress of being a graduate student? Like self-care stuff.
I go work out, relieve that stress. We actually have a park nearby my house, so I like to go there, just relax, let hit your pace. Just let go of your worries, and don't feel guilty going out with friends. Like at first, I was like, no, I can't go out. Like I have to be dedicated to this. So now it's like, no, like let's go out. Like you need it. So like don't feel guilty going out. Just go out and do what's fun for you. Yeah.
One of the things that some of the professors that came into the panel for us, and they were from different fields, said, don't feel guilty about going to happy hour after class. Yeah. Like I know that sounds funny, but and it doesn't have to be with alcohol, but just like food, happy hour, doing things with people in your cohort, those people can really keep you sane.
Yeah, it's like you're a group together, so hopefully you'll still interact with them after you graduate, but for now you just gotta take advantage, go with people while you can.
For me, it's trying to do as much self-care as possible. So yoga is like my thing for not only my body, but for my mind. It's the only time I can turn my brain off. And then whenever I can to work out, but if I can't, because it's hard sometimes to fit it in, I just tell myself I just need to do yoga once a week. Like just set yourself like a bare minimum, because honestly, if you don't even set that, like it'll be months and you're like, wait, when's the last time I worked out? I don't even remember. I think other than that, it's just like making time for friends and family when you can, because I get like super like overburdened, like I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do this assignment, I can't go to this birthday party, I can't do this, and then you go and then you're just present for a few hours, and maybe you don't stay as long as you normally would have, but you just feel so much better. Like you're laughing, you're thinking about something else, and eating, enjoying food, like enjoying company, and then you go back and honestly you're so much more refreshed and like revitalized, and you're like, okay, I can conquer this assignment. But sometimes I felt like when I told myself no to those things and I tried to write an assignment, it took me like way longer, and I'm like, I'm not even functioning at this point. But I think also it's okay to say no, because for me it was like I had to do at that certain point in the semester like what worked for me, and sometimes saying no was what I needed to do, and sometimes saying yes. And those people, like for me, it's relying on your cohort, because I feel like they get it more than anyone else. And sometimes I lost some friends throughout grad school just because they don't understand like how committed like you have to be to this program. It's 2 years of your life. You're trying to grow as an individual, but your cohort members, like they get it, and they have family, and they have friends, they can relate, and they can tell you like I go through the same thing too. So just don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so guilty. Try to make time for friends and family if you can, and if you can't, it's okay.
I would say that. Watch catch up on shows, go to the movies, go out with friends. I try to do yoga a little bit to relieve tension.
stress. Yeah, I'm just having fun. I try to.
So now I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to ask you, I know Sarah had mentioned about like loans and scholarships and all that stuff. So what is your guys' experience with graduate financing? Whether it be scholarships in the department or on campus or loans or whatever it may be. Like how are you guys surviving like the graduate school like, financial burden? Because I know it's expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I applied for FAFSA because, well, my work, I only work part-time. And during that part-time, I was off for those 3 years deciding what I wanted to do. I told myself, like, don't try to look for a full-time job because then you're going to feel complacent. You're going to stay there. You won't want to pursue, going to get your master's. So I stayed with that, just a part-time job. So yeah, I applied for FAFSA when I got into school. And luckily I was able to get, a little bit of financial help, and they also assisted me with loans. So that's how I'm staying afloat here.
And so you're still working?
Yeah, I'm still working part-time now.
My job, FAFSA, they give you like a grant, it's a college grant, and loans.
So for me, my first year, I didn't qualify because, like I said, they started this new thing like this for me in undergrad, but they go back 2 years. And so given my taxes in those 2 years, I was working at my insurance job and I made too much money. And then I didn't qualify for anything, but I'm like, that's not depicting where I am right now. It's I had to take out complete loans my first year. I think I took out like $18,000, which to me is like, oh my gosh, that's so much money. Because in undergrad, I was always working. I always had like money coming in somehow. Even I was working like almost full time. And so that was really hard for me at first year to like take out that much in loans. It was basically like my whole 4 years in 1 year. And then my second year, when I started noticing that there's grants and stuff I can apply for, and then I applied to those things. There's like the Alabar Scholars Program. Do anything you can, because any amount of money helps. And actually what I did this year was they did the same thing. They went back 2 years again, and I went to them and I showed them my taxes and I said, look, this is a discrepancy. Like, I don't make that much money. Like I should qualify for a grant. You have to advocate for yourself. And she went, she like listened to me. You have to wait in the counseling office. And she ended up giving me the right documents in order for me to get a small grant. So really advocate for yourself. There's stuff out there. There's people willing to help you if you ask for help. Because it's not going to be, because I easily could have just been like, oh, I didn't get any grants this year. Like I'm just going to take out another $18,000 loan, and I didn't have to. So really utilize your resources.
And I don't know if you guys have any experience, but each department here, they have their own scholarships. So I can actually post a link somewhere to you guys to make it available. But every semester there are just a bunch of different scholarships for social work, public health department that the department will give you. The student, you have to write or write an essay or enter in a certain way, have a certain get an award or something. But it can be anywhere from like $50 to the Titan Bookshop, which is helpful, to like $2,000 from your department. So I definitely agree with you. You just have to definitely look for those resources if they are out there within your department and outside. So have you guys done any like assistantships or like fellowships or anything like that? What kind of research opportunities have you guys had or experienced during your time?
Yeah, so right now I just started the fibromyalgia longitudinal study. So I'm part of recruitment and for physical training. But we also have, actually wrote these down, we have also Center for Cancer Disparities, Center for the Promotion of Healthy Lifestyles and Obesity. I can't even read my writing. And Health Promotion Research Institute and like cancer research for Pacific Islanders. So for our department, we have 5 different opportunities where you can, try to look into.
And you said you found that opportunity because you were presenting somewhere and somebody came up to you about getting involved with that. Mm-hmm. And what do you like? Can you describe a little bit about what you do there?
Well, since our study is barely starting, so we a friend of mine and myself, we are getting together a call list to make calls to get participants for the study. So we're early in the process of that. The study is going to take place during October, November, but we're early getting everything started. So right now I'm actually going to meet with my friend later. We're going to go through the physical assessments because we're also going to train the other people who are interested and get them up to date with everything that they have to do so that when the study starts, we can do those tests on them. So it's early beginning right now.
Yeah, I haven't done any research, just like basic research papers, stuff like that, but nothing like a research opportunity. They are more available your second year, like professors they usually take a second year students. Once that student graduates, they'll send out an email and there's a lot of opportunities. And then your second year of your MSW program, you have to do a capstone project, which is a year-long research of your own. And so I'll be starting that this fall and I'll continue to my spring. So it's to come.
I haven't done any research, but there are professors in the department who do research and they take on students to help them.
Yeah, usually, I know in the public health department, but they send out a mass email for the students of centers for professors in your department that are looking for graduate assistants or research assistants, and you typically send them your cover letter and a resume, and then you can pick up hours with them, like anywhere from like 5 hours to 20 hours, depending on what the professor's looking for, and you work with them either independently or with the project that they're working on. So that's some way to make some money to graduate school. Okay, so now I would like to open it up to the Q&A for the students. Thank you guys so much. So anybody has any questions, you can take advantage of these people that have just finished their first year. Go ahead.
Regarding financial aid, I feel like as first generation students, that's like hard to know what is out there and how it actually works. Because for me too, I'm the oldest of all my cousins, so it's not like I can go to them either. But I know that based on the award I got for this upcoming semester, it's referred to as a state grant. That might vary by case, but from your guys' experience, did you qualify for the state grant? And from your personal experience, was it more like a year thing or more than 1 year?
So yeah, so I got the grant to pay for part of my tuition and the loan to cover the rest. And I wasn't sure if the second year it was going to cover it. And luckily, yeah, we actually just got our emails like last week. And yeah, you also have a grant for your second year to qualify as well.
Yeah, so I didn't qualify my first year, but I got the state grant this year because I went and I talked to them about it. As far as I know, like in undergrad, I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, in graduate school, you won't get it all covered, but the state grant you qualify for, and it's just like it probably covers most of your expenses for your class, and then you probably need a loan just to like living, not working, parking, books are expensive. So it helps, yeah.
And just to let you all know, Wednesday of week 4, we do have Luis Molina coming from the Graduate Student Success Center with a whole session just on funding, followed by a workshop with a professor from Cal State San Bernardino focusing on how to actually write your scholarship essays. So that will be coming. And I'll get $2,000 from this program.
Yeah.
I got a question about, so this is for Sarah. Being an associate, you were a major in sociology, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you feel like that kind of helps you along the social work program?
Oh, it helps me like in every volunteer job, every experience. I mean, even every day working with people. I think that it's just helps prepare you that people come from different backgrounds. So maybe like sometimes like I even say on Facebook or something, sometimes people will have like an opinion about something. And the way that I look at it is like, okay, but what's in that person's environment? Like, why do you think they're acting like, why do you think they reacted like that? Maybe something happened with, I just think way differently of things. I think sometimes people like shoot judgment at first, and I take a step back and I go, why are you so mad? Like, you know, let's process, let's see, like, maybe you had a really bad day, maybe your mom is sick. Like, you never know what people are going through, and so for me, I use it in everyday experiences. Like me and a friend will be at the same situation at the same time, and her reaction to something and my reaction is like way different.
You mentioned that a lot of the work is done in cohorts. I personally, I tend to be really shy in the beginning, and I really want to try to put myself out there because I know it's important. So any tips or that you might have, some experiences where maybe it didn't work out so well with a specific person, or you had to kind of move in a different direction, anything like that would help.
I mean, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, you're gonna meet people and you're gonna see them every week. So eventually, you're gonna see them every week, and you know, some people you're gonna like them, some people you're not. But eventually, I think you start hanging out with certain people. I mean, usually when we have our own option to sit wherever we like, we always sit in the same exact spot, right? So, you know, the person that sits next to you eventually becomes like a really good friend of yours. And I mean, I think, yeah, in the beginning I had another friend sit next to me, but I guess, you know, she felt more comfortable being with somebody else. So eventually I don't think you have to take it personally. Sometimes some people, they don't just really mesh as well. So you just kind of have to find people that, you know, you can relate to. And yeah, I mean, don't worry, there's going to be someone out there that you'll definitely pair up with really well.
I think really like reach outside of your comfort zone. That's what I did. Like I went in and I made friends, but then I made sure like I don't want to just stick to those friends. Like I went on a study abroad program in Germany with my cohort, and some of my best friends that I met in the program were there. And I personally chose to not stay with them in the same room because I already know them. I already know we get along. I know you guys, you know, we're there for each other. And you're networking. Like these are people you're gonna work with. Like you really need to make friends wherever you can. Like utilize us. If you guys have our emails, if you guys have any questions, like honestly, email me like anytime. Really make friends with second years with your professors. You never know what kind of like connection you can make, and then in the long term, it can also be a network opportunity. So just maybe you're really shy. I was really shy at first, and I just made it a choice to like sit in a different spot one day, or maybe talk to someone who I've never talked to before, because I think it helps grow you as a person. Thank you.
Yeah, when I first started, I was really shy too. I didn't talk to anyone. I still barely talk to people. But you eventually have to do something like that. And especially in clinic, you have to do diagnostics together, so you really have to work with them. So that gives you a chance to start talking to them, you know, little by little. But, you know, you eventually.
Yeah, and trust me, you're in a cohort, so you have a lot of things to talk about. Even if it's just assignments, you're eventually going to start talking to people. Yeah, you always have something to talk about, so yeah.
Don't worry, you'll be forced to.
Yeah. Your cohort.
One question. I'm just curious how many hours a week do you work, and then like, what is your job, and I'm concerned about like the clinics, because like if you get a job and then this clinic times always change every semester, or how does that work?
Right now, I work between 13 to 16 hours a week. I mostly just work the weekends, so that works out for me. I work at a movie theater, so it's really flexible, and those are the busiest days of the week, so I get a lot of hours. The clinics, they change every semester, so they're different times. So if you work throughout the week, it'll be kind of hard. You'll have to change everything around because child clinic is on different days, adult and multicultural. So they're on different days and they're different times, and it depends on if you're a morning clinician or if you're an evening clinician. So it's really different.
Do you get any say into when you visit them, or do you just like assign you?
They just assign you. Yeah. So you get whatever. Well, it depends on for a child. It depends because if just like you request to work with like smaller children. It's mostly like in the morning. But if you want to work with other children, you know, they go to school so they don't get out. So they need to sort of help get permission.
This is again for Sarah. But for the internship, so the first one they assign you, yeah, they assign you the first year. The second year, do you have more of an option to choose where you want to go?
Yeah, so my first year, they just give you whatever, which is nice because I don't think you're ready to like pick where you want to be because you really like learn so much. Like I was in a setting where it was just like very micro like counseling. It was like individuals, families, groups, but that's not personally what I want to do. But I think it was a great experience, and I don't know, going into it, I would have chosen that for myself. Because I think your second year, they let you choose because you have a little bit more experience, then you're in something, you know, you're going to be graduating soon, you're closer to getting that experience. And you get an option. They let us, this was the first time they did this, they let you choose 4 places. And each place, like if it was eligible, you could get an internship for a minimum of 3, but you could get like up to 4, sorry, did I say internship? I meant interview. So you get to interview, sorry. No, it's an interview. Sorry. Interviews, which is great because you get to go on like 3 different interviews and it prepares you and you see like, you kind of have an option, which is nice as your first year, you're just kind of like given something. But then with options comes a lot of, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, you know, it's like a little too much, but I think it's a good experience. You go on interviews, you get to see the facility, you get to see your supervisor, and then from there you kind of rank like which ones you like the most, and then they rank you, and depending on your ranking and their ranking, that's how you get placed. So you like have a say so to narrow it down, but ultimately it depends on like how it works both ways.
I think for many majors, like when you go, you get accepted or you're going into the transition of I'm going to grad school, you hear a lot of like, it's going to be harder as far as the classes and the workload and everything. Do you think that's pretty realistic to the major? I'm going into communicative sciences and disorders, but for those of you that, for the transition, how different did you think it was?
It's not hard in the sense of I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know how to get this assignment done. It's not hard. It's not hard in the sense of like this is like foreign to me and I don't have any type of background in how to like critically think and research to solve this assignment. It's more hard in the sense of there's more readings to be done. There's more writing. There's a higher like expectation of you in that sense. But if you utilize your resources and you talk to your professors and you like, you know, take this time during summer and just read anything, newspaper, whatever it is, just to get your brain kind of thinking. It's just a little bit more of a workload, but it's not unmanageable. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I mean, professors do a really great job at teaching, you know, the material. So me coming from a different background, it wasn't like a total like huge transition for me because you're learning along the way. So yeah, I mean, as far as the workload, you know, maybe it's a little bit more like an undergrad. Maybe, you know, you don't have as many assignments to do. Like you're just doing readings, right? So after this, if the assignments are come a little bit more often, but it's manageable. Yeah.
I don't think there's that big of a transition. It's the same material undergrad. You're just looking at it in a different way. Yeah, it's just you don't really have tests. It's more assignments. And reading and research. A lot of research and just trying to get the bare techniques down. Just knowing your populations.
Yeah, so yeah, just going off what she said, they're more like written assignments. You don't really take as many tests. It's more, you know, writing out, you know, papers. So, yeah.
I really like what you said about there just being more expected from you. That's a good way to look at it.
You're input, yeah.
Yeah, they see you as more like, okay, you're doing a master's now, like you're going to be a professional very soon, so
you are held to the standard.
And a lot of people, like, at least in my program, have come back and taught in the MSW program. So you never know, like, sometimes you think, oh, I don't want to, like, participate in this class because it's, you know, very, I don't know, basic or whatever it is, the reason that you don't. But you never know, like, from that experience, I've had, like, really good connections with my professors who've taught me, like, other opportunities that they are that I would have never gotten to know. So you're always kind of being looked at. That's how I see it. And, like, one day, you know, these people could help you get a job. And so just try to always put, like, your best foot forward because everyone's watching.
I have a question for Keyonna. You mentioned that you want to work with adults in the hospital setting, but you also said it's hard to find a job in the hospital. Why do you think that is?
Because that population is more fragile, and you really have to find a speech language pathologist that would want to take on a new grad, and it really affects their productivity to be supervising you while they're trying to work too. So a lot of hospitals, they don't like to take on new grads, so it's hard. A lot of the times you have to get your CCC first, then try to find a hospital. But I feel like you would want to do your internship at a hospital if that's where you want to work. But it's just really hard. Like even the professors say, you know, it's hard to try to get a medical position. Yeah, they just want to take on the grads.
I'm not sure if this question got answered on this question, but what's like one thing that you love about your program and then one thing that you wish could be better?
Yeah. I give us 10 minutes.
We'll start with the first one.
Okay.
For me, it was opposite.
I love that we're part of a small program. Like, I know if I would have went to like a bigger school, I wouldn't have had the same experience. I feel like a family. Our cohort started out like 100, maybe 120, now we're down to like 90. And you know everyone, and you know your professors. They know you by first name. They like ask you about your, you know, winter break, you know, what you did, and they like genuinely care. Like these people really care about you. So that's what I love is that I'm in a smaller program, and I feel like a family. Like these people are people I'm gonna have in my life forever. That's my first. That's the first one.
That's a small program.
I know.
We
I
have
was like,
people in our cohort.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow, yeah. Those programs are that huge like that. Wow.
Wow, you guys are even better then.
Yeah. So I mean, so from that, yeah, our cohort's super small. So I mean, you pretty much know everybody. All the professors pretty much know you. And yeah, it's easy to approach a professor in that aspect because you know eventually you would have interacted with the professor. So that's what I like. It's just we're small and everybody knows each other.
Yeah, same. The professors, they really want you to go out there and be able to do the best out of your time. So I think that's a good thing that we're able to approach them and see what they have done in their careers and see if you can take that path also. How do you feel?
I thought of something for the next one. Is anyone interested in getting a PPSC? Does anyone even know that it's in working with school-age kids, like in a school setting?
I'd like possibly, yeah.
This is the one thing that our school doesn't offer that other schools do, and I didn't know about this either, and I didn't do it, but you can take like every class possible to get that PPSC certificate, but there's one class that they don't offer here, and you have to go after you graduate to like, I think Cal State Long Beach and then UCLA like offer that one class to get that certificate, but those students get priority. So the Cal State Long Beach students get priority there, and UCLA students get priority there, and it's also more expensive at UCLA than it is at Long Beach. So other schools have where you could graduate with your MSW and your PPSC, and that's the only thing that I don't know why we don't have that here, but there's that one class you have to pay for and take after you graduate to fulfill your PPSC.
That makes a lot more sense because I'm interning at the Orange County School District of Education, and they asked that little question.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're interested, they don't put you in a school setting your first year because you need your hours to count your second year. They place you out of school your second year, and then you get all those hours, and you take all the classes but one class, and then when you graduate, you take that class, and then you'll get that certificate later. But it's like an extra test. You're like done, but you're not. That's you. Yeah.
So then I would not circle it, right?
If you're interested in getting the PPSC, then that's how it was for us. It's like if you're interested, click that box and click it, and they'll make sure not to place you in a school your first year. Yeah, Saxon is really good about all that stuff. Yeah.
Are we still continuing with that?
Yeah, definitely.
I think this is a good sign that you don't.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe in the second year, maybe something will come up like, I don't like that one. For now, I think that's okay.
Maybe if it was like it could be like more hands-on, especially with the medical stuff. Like for a voice class, I would like expect that to be more hands-on because we're talking about the vocal folds. Like we had opportunities to like strobes stuff. That would be good. Especially with like smaller class, like more hands-on, like the medical side of things, probably.
Thank you guys. We're always like 1G.
I know.
Sorry.
If you think of something, let us know. Amy, your question?
Yeah, I have a question for Adriana. It's kind of similar, but has been so far one of the classes that you enjoyed the most and one that you found very challenging but still got something out of it?
So surprisingly, actually one of my favorite classes was the environmental health. I've never really thought too much about that, but that was like the first class that was more like hands-on. You actually learn about like real life applications about like filtration of water, like all of the pollution, air pollution, all that stuff. So you kind of learn more about your environment. All the classes are more like I wouldn't say theory, but like they make you like really think about like, oh, like what is health, like, and then everyone has their own different opinions. The most difficult class I would probably have to say statistics, but luckily we had a really wonderful professor. She actually met with us the hour before class started so that we can review over the material, and it really helped a lot. So that's one of my challenging classes, but yeah, she did really good.
And
Yeah.
Professor
Dr. Kim was Dr. Kim for environmental, and Dr. Wood for stats. Yeah. Why?
I won't have her.
No.
She's the new chair. Yeah, she's the chair for the department, so she won't be teaching next year. But Dr. Penn, we've never taken a class with her, but she came and spoke at one of our lectures, and she's really, really amazing.
Did I answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about for everyone else?
Yeah.
For your teaching your children.
Favorite class was that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm super biased. I just did a study abroad class, so that's probably my favorite. But really think about, like, I never thought I would have the money or any of the resources to study abroad, but it's all doable, and it's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it was really cool. We went to Germany. We took a 3-week class in the summer. And then we were in Germany for 2 weeks, and we got to learn about the social welfare system in Germany. We got to like really experience what it's like there, and healthcare and social problems. And we were hosted by a school. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I'm so grateful and like humbled to represent CSUF and to have gone. So for me, I would say study abroad.
Maybe my adult neurogenic disorder. That was pretty interesting.
Clinical, maybe a class that you found most challenging.
Maybe my voice class. I don't know. It was probably the teacher, but no one liked that class.
You're like, any other questions you guys may have?
I was curious about, even though, like you said, your cohort was like closely knit, were there any situations where maybe you did run into a discussion / like disagreement? Like how did you approach that, and how did you resolve the issue?
Yeah, so you're in a graduate level program, and people are going to be very opinionated, very like educated in their like reasoning and their perspective and their life experience that got them to like where they are. But I think part of being in a graduate program is you have to be able to hear two different sides of a perspective on the same issue and understand that everyone's entitled respectively to their opinion. And I think we all get stronger when we debate respectively and really hear other people's sides. I feel like especially as social workers, like that makes me like a better professional. And not only that, but I feel like that's what I expect out of a graduate program. I don't expect everyone to agree with me, and that's not like what I came to school for. Like I want to learn and like be challenged. And I think my best advice is if you could do it in a very like respectful way, then yeah, to have those disagreements will come up. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, same. I mean, this is actually our classroom where we had most of our discussions. But I and memories. But I mean, yeah, it was nothing like out of the ordinary. You know, there were some opposing views, but you know, it was all respectfully handled. So I mean, everyone is entitled to their beliefs from their backgrounds, everything. So you just have to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, this is just in terms of the amount of units. I don't know how many all of you guys are taking per semester. I don't know you guys is time. But I just want to know if I should do 9 units because I know it's going to take young, and I don't want to start out with the group of them. So I'm just wondering how you guys balance. If you guys have a part-time job and working 20 hours, but full-time 12 units, is that
Well, for my program, the full-time MSW program, you have to take 15 units each semester for the 2 years, the 4 semesters. There's some people, I'm not sure if anyone here is in the part-time program, but there's a 2-year program, and theirs is different. Like you take classes even in the summer. So it's like, I think 12 during the fall and the spring, and then I think you do 3 units over the summer. But I have no choice. Like I'm in a full-time program, I have to take.
Yeah, so for ours, it's I think everyone has their own list of the classes that you're supposed to take. For us, it's just 9 units. You take your 2 core classes and your elective. And I know some people, they're doing full-time and they're full-time working and full-time parents. So if you're in one of those, then yeah, definitely, I think anybody can do it. Luckily for me, I'm just doing part-time work and full-time school, but there are a lot of people in our cohort that full-time jobs, full-time parent, full-time school.
If you want to do the FPH program, because I know you're doing FPH, if you want to do it, finish it in 2 years, it's 9 units. I don't know if it's the same in Long Beach, but it's 2 core classes and then an elective. But the elective is generally, you take it with like undergrads, and it's a lot easier than the core classes. So even though you have 2 really difficult classes, the 3rd one is kind of like a break. So I think it's doable. To kind of piggyback off that, would you happen to know any like other students that, because I know you say you're not working.
Yeah.
You're not working. So some who are, because we're headed toward taking those 5 classes,
Yeah.
Who are kind of working more than 2 days.
do you work?
Well, I was thinking of working maybe 1 day or 2, but that's I wanted to figure out.
Yeah.
There's an end of their first year.
So some people do, like there's not a lot, I would probably say a handful of people who work in the semester and they have, like Keyonna said, like weekend jobs, like at a movie theater or restaurant where they can work nights and weekends and that works for them. Most people that are working in a full-time or like an office job 8 to 5, something like that, are in the Irvine part-time program because those are only night classes and that's why they chose that. There's people who work, it's doable, they time manage very well, they still get good grades, they can manage it, but some people can't. And if you're one of those people that are like, I can be on top of my own time, it's very doable. I'd probably start with minimal hours your first semester, and then if you feel confident, then maybe add more your second. I just personally wanted to really take every opportunity I could of like school and internship because it's draining. It really is. If you intern 16 to 20 hours, you take 15 minutes. We're very specific in that way. So just do what's best for you, but it's manageable.
We have time for maybe one more question. And I think they're also going to be, some of them might join us for lunch. So it's not like you won't be able to ask them, especially if it's specific to one person.
I was gonna ask, since you studied abroad, like how does that work with your 5 classes every, well, like for your next semester or for the semester before?
So it goes into my last semester. It'll go into my 4th semester. I could take 4 classes instead of 5, which is nice because your 4th semester it's your 2 electives. So I got rid of 1 elective, which is really cool because then I can focus more on internship when I find a job. But you can only use that elective in the 2nd semester of your 2nd year. Any other questions? Last question? Or you have one? Yeah, fine.
Apologies for the mistake. All right, so thank you guys so much. We're going to wrap it up. I think some of you will be joining us for lunch at the Gastronome. But we just wanted to say thank you so much for coming today. And if you can give them a round of applause. You don't want to be in it? No, that's okay. Are you sure? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then, I think it's the first time we're trying this with such a large group, but if we could get our participants to step around them real quick. One day through portal, and then we'll have some lunch. And again, you have their contact information, so feel free to ask them additional questions if something comes up later. Oh, Emily, can you stop? Stop.